Thanks for joining us again. This segment is on laminating, and we're going to go over a few different ways to laminate. What I'm going to do, since this is like a cooking show and we didn't get our piece sprayed up beforehand, is I'm going to spray this up real quick, and then we'll talk about some other ways to apply materials. When I was in the laminate business, and most of you guys know, you use a liquid laminate, or you can use a spray like a 2.5-gallon pot, a 5-gallon pot, or a 55. Tonight we're going to talk about laminate rollers and this product, which has been on the market for a long time, called Spray 90. And this is an expensive product to use, obviously, in a shop in day-to-day laminating, but for someone that's doing field repairs or laminating in the field, like face frames where they're redoing cabinets or something, it's great. And this is simply applied to the laminate, just like that, back and forth. You want to overlap your strokes. You'll end up with about 80% coverage. That just goes on so nice. Oh, and I love that smell. That brings back memories. I used to love.
Still remember?
Yeah. I used to love laminating, no doubt about it. It was great. Let me just get this one real quick, and then we'll just set this one aside. Now, if you were using a liquid contact cement by one of the manufacturers that comes, we used to use it in a 5-gallon bucket, and we would use a roller that was specific to solid surface. If you want to just set those aside there, Ken, that would be great.
Specific to laminate,
I'm
right?
sorry, specific to laminate. I got solid surface on my mind. When you're going to use a contact cement roller, use a good frame. You can buy these pretty much anywhere. We sell them. You can buy them at any of the hardware stores or what have you. The thing that's important is the roller, and it's a real close nap. And when you pour your contact cement out and you spread it with this, you want to get a nice even coat, and it kind of is dimply. When you're spraying contact cement with either a can or with one of the spray systems that we sell, you get kind of a spider web effect, which gives you a much better bond, I think. But these rollers are solvent-free, I guess. They're you can't, solvent won't wreck them. So we used to leave these in a 5-gallon bucket of solvent. So that would be for applying laminate.
And those come in several different sizes.
Yeah, these are available in 3-inch, 7-inch, and 9-inch.
Now, why would you have the different sizes?
Well, just for, this is pretty much for edging of materials. 1.5-inch drop edge on a countertop. And these are just for different size face laminates.
And we carry both the roller frames and the covers for that.
Right, exactly. And, you know, the nice thing about the roller frame, one thing that I do want to point out is when you get a roller frame for contact cement, get one that's sealed from the ends, and when you pull it out of the bucket, you don't have to spend 5 minutes draining all the contact cement out of the inside. If you have one of the wire ones that's open on the ends, it gets filled, and it just takes a while to get it all out. Okay? So that's it for rollers. Now, we have, I wanted to show the slitter that we have. This is by Virutex. And this is, yeah, you can take that out of the way. This is standard grade laminate. And for those of you who don't know the difference, this would be horizontal grade, and it's just that. It's used on horizontal surfaces. There's also a vertical grade laminate that's very thin for vertical surfaces, doors, wall panels, things like that. The Virutex Slitter can be adjusted from pretty much 0 to, I believe, 4 3/8, which is wide enough for a backsplash. And you adjust it so it just cuts through the laminate. It's nice if you have this over the edge where you can run it. And you just pull it, and it slits off the piece of laminate. The advantage to this is, for one, you're not going to tie up your table saw when you're cutting strips and edging. If you're going to cut a lot of strips and edging for an edge bander, this has no saw cut remove, so you're not losing any material, and sometimes that is important. This is manufactured by Virutex. These have carbide cutters on them. I don't know if you can get a shot of that or not. These two wheels are adjustable by this dial, and then this is adjustable here, and then you just flip this back and slide this back to do a a large adjustment. Very simple. Great tool. It's been on the market pretty much forever. There are a couple Taiwanese copies, but again, in a lot of instances, the original is the best, and I think that Virutex is the best. And they're all about the same price, so there's no point.
That's been around forever.
Oh yeah,
They used that in colonial America.
This is pretty much.
Okay.
These are square screws, like they use the square nails. But
okay. Let's see. I didn't realize that.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, while that piece is drying, I'm going to set that on the floor there. Set this up here. This laminate router. Now this base is attached to a Bosch laminate trimmer, and actually this is a base that I developed, and I developed it years ago when I was doing laminate on a regular basis. And the unique feature of this base is that instead of using a bearing, you're riding on this plastic laminate surface, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but this edge is not broken. And what that means is that you can go around a radius, and since this is not cut out, the cutter isn't going to drop into the radius. So those of you guys that are doing plastic laminate know what I'm talking about. I know you don't do much laminate, but you kind of got the drift on what I'm talking about. This router base can also be adjusted for a flush or a bevel cut. And you can do that by adjusting the base and adjusting the depth of the router bit because it is cut in a bevel and a flush. Now, the nice thing about this is when you're actually routing with this, now let's see if we can, here, let's move this router out of the way here, Ken. And maybe we can get a close-up right here. I know we're working on the back side, but the beauty of this is that you can do an end cut, you can go across and down, and even underneath if you need to. So I'm going to come up right here. Okay, now that's ready to apply laminate to the top surface. It doesn't have to be hit with a sander. I leave it just a hair full so that you get a good bond with your contact cement right at this edge. So that router, that's the first place that you would use it. We'll be using it again in a few minutes. You can actually just set this down here. I will. Now we've got a piece of, let's go ahead and stick that up. It may not be exactly perfectly dry, but we can get by. When you're laying up contact cement, a sheet this size, anybody that does it would do it by hand, but I just wanted to show everybody how you would normally do a larger sheet. So you would lay down a few sticks on the dry contact cement, take your piece, lay it over, making sure that you have a good overhang on all edges, hold down here, pull this out, apply pressure to there, and now this is where our rollers come in, okay? There's a lot of different rollers available on the market. We're going to go down. This table is great. I don't know if any of you guys are using a scissors lift table like this, but for someone who's short like myself, you can lower it and work this real well, and then someone else that's taller can come and just raise the table and use it again. So this is an extension roller, and depending on where you're going to use it, it's mostly used for large surfaces, but you can get way out over a table like that if you need to. So that's a nice roller, very common. This is a J roller. We used to call these knuckle busters, but this is a J roller, and you use it just like that, back and forth. It doesn't slide on the surface. The roller is a little bit cushy, and they do get hard after a while, and although they last forever, it's a good idea just to pitch them once in a while and buy a new one. These are great for doing edges as well, for getting good pressure down. But again, they're knuckle busters, and anybody who's used them knows why they're knuckle busters, but they have a purpose. This one here is a pressure roller. It's just designed a little bit more ergonomically so you can get more pressure on the roller. Just like that. Very simple.
Would you use that instead of the J roller?
You could use it instead of the J roller, but the J roller will allow you to do an edge as well. this is very cumbersome for trying to do an edge. But I have a great laminate roller for that I'm going to show you in just a minute. So that's your pressure roller. This roller here is called an edge squeeze roller. And actually what it does is you put it like that and then apply pressure, and it actually will squeeze that edge. All right? You don't want to do it with a large overhang, but it will work. Again, all of these rollers work in some fashion for something, and some guys like them, some guys don't. It's as simple as that. This is my roller of preference. Not so much for large surfaces, but it fits in the palm of your hand. This is the Sable block roller. And for doing tops, you can do them very easily. Again, I wouldn't do very large surfaces. They're great for doing the edges like this, but they're especially good when you have to do an edge. Well, I'll hold this up for a minute, but like this. You can get good pressure from it. When you're laminating on the edge of your table, you can easily work like this with it. So that's an absolutely great tool, no doubt about it. All right, now, since we stuck up this piece, let's go ahead and show you how the flush trimmer would work. Why don't you go ahead and raise this up. Now, the flush trimmer, as I was explaining to Ken earlier today, without a bearing surface on here, you've got a wide spread on your fence. So if you're going over a particle board edge, you don't get all the bumpiness in there. So if this were a shelf, let's say, going in a cabinet, and we had one edge that was laminated, but we wanted to trim it all the way around, we'd still want that to look nice going into the cabinet. Okay, so you can see that those edges are nice and straight on here rather than being very bumpy. Now, this is where this tool really shines, and I'm not quite sure how we can do this, but here, let me do it this way, and just untangle me there a second. Can you get a close-up here right there? All right, now what's going to happen, we're just going to check it. There we go. Okay, now, this seems like a pretty insignificant cut, but what it's actually doing is this base is totally eliminating the possibility for bearing burn on this edge. Bearing burn occurs when your bearing freezes up because you've loaded it up with glue that hung over the edge, or if it just happened to freeze up. You got to remember that laminate bearings are very tiny, the balls are very tiny, and they tend to freeze up quite frequently, okay? And if you've ever had your balls freeze up, it's a real drag.
That happens with small balls.
That's right, exactly. So anyway, what this does is it rides along the surface and gives you a flush cut if that's what you need. Now,
one thing I wanted to point out about this.
Adjustability.
Adjustability. Oh,
okay.
Actually, before we show this, we've got a commercial in just a couple more minutes, so let's go over the safety, and we'll show the adjustment right after the commercial.
Okay, that'll be great.
One of the things, I had never seen this tool before in use. Once again, I'm not a laminate guy. I come from the solid surface world. John comes from the laminate world. But I was amazed, having been a shop owner, that how safe this tool is right here.
Yep,
because
absolutely.
the way John designed it, the only way you're going to get your fingers caught in this or something other than what you're supposed to be cutting is if you actually make an effort to put it in there. And I thought that was really great because that takes what is definitely, I think, one of the most dangerous tools in the shop, the router. And like I said, I can run my hand over the top of it, no contact with the bit.
Ken's real safety conscious.
Yeah, I am.
I just go with it.
But
this is a horsehair brush. I'm going to interrupt you because we got to get moving along here.
We have a commercial we have to go to.
Well, we're going to have to hold up for just a little bit on the commercial, or no? Okay, I guess we're going to go to commercial.
It's a hard break. Tough luck for us.
Oh, okay. Well, we're falling behind. We were ahead, and now we're falling behind.
Okay, so
all right.
Anyway, Right after our commercial, we'll come back, show how to adjust this, that, and the hairspray brush, and then away we go.
We'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. We're running behind, and I didn't want to let you go or get into the next segment without talking about this router bit. This is called a Lami Trim Bit.
Correct.
Right?
Made by?
Velopec. And the reason I hesitated because it used to be called something else made by somebody else. But anyway, let's try to get a really good close-up on this. This is a bit that totally eliminates filing if it's set up properly and if it's in a great router. Not that this is a great router. I mean, it's got to be a good fixed base router. Any router will do. Doesn't have to be powerful. But fixed base, I mean, you want it supported all the way around. When this is adjusted properly, it's wonderful. What I've done is I've near flush cut with our flush bevel base. We're going to go ahead and plug this in. Now, I don't know if you can get right in here, but I mean, this is a perfect edge here. If anything, the only thing I would want to do is one file like that, just to take off the sharp edge on the top, and that's all there is to it. What this bit does is it decreases labor, it increases the accuracy of this edge and the consistency of it. Exactly. So it looks nice all the way around. It can be adjusted for either, we have one for a countertop grade and for the vertical grade. But that's it very quickly. Maybe some other time we'll go into this on depth, but we're going to go ahead and talk about plug cutters.
There were a couple questions that we had on the laminate that came across.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One, do you also carry biscuit joiners?
Yes, we do. We carry the Virutex biscuit joiner right now, and we sell quite a few of those for doing laminate work.
Okay. Does the trimmer base work only with the Bosch router? Where's your trimmer?
Yes.
Or they want to know, could they buy it to fit a DeWalt?
No, it only fits Bosch. We happen to got started with Bosch. We made them only for the Bosch trimmers. You know, for $179, it's worth it to have one of these. You know, if you have to buy another router, you have to buy another router. It's something that should be bought and left set up in the shop. It's just well worth it. There's no doubt about it. And this is the flush bevel base, and the whole router is called the flush bevel trimmer. It's available as a base only if you do have the Bosch laminate trimmer 1608 motor.
Okay. And then another question. How do you stop the glue from screwing up the bearing on the Lami Trim Bit?
Okay, very quickly. The reason that the Lami Trim Bit does not get screwed up with glue is it's designed to be used after you've flush cut and cleaned the front edge, so there should be no glue edge on here. You've got to remember when you're using a bearing cutter of any kind, if there is any glue buildup on this edge, it's going to transfer to the top edge and you will not have a consistent edge along here. So just imagine if you're ready to file a top, that's when you're going to use the microfile bit.
Now I know you also that that's partly what the Lami Lube and the
you can also exactly
does.
Right. You can use Lami Lube. I'm sorry, we have all these things we wanted to show you, but the time just goes so quickly. We have Lami Lube. This is a spray product that you can spray on here first, or we have Trimmies, which is a wax stick type thing, and you can edge that. A lot of people can use pilotless cutters, solid carbide. They don't have a bearing on them. They have well, not pilotless, they're bearingless. They have a pilot on them. And that's designed to be used on the wax front edge as well.
I know we sell cases of the Lami.
Yeah, we sell a ton of this stuff. And we sell a lot of these, too. There's, you know, it's like anything else. There's a ton of ways to do the same job. We carry some of the ways that we think are the best. I think we've covered pretty much everything. I was joking about the horsehair brush, but as Ken explained to me, it's very difficult sometimes to find a real horsehair brush. Mm-hmm. They're all imitation. They get static buildup on them. Everything sticks on them. This is a true horsehair brush, and they're great, and we sell a bunch of these as well.
I know in the solid surface world, a lot of guys, they'll get brushes, and they'll get the synthetic fiber brushes, and it doesn't clean the dust off. The dust tangles up in the brushes, and it's horrible. A real horsehair brush, once again, hard to find. Specialty Tools got the real thing.
Yep.